This is about how to avoid redundancy and repetition when citing properly. So we want to make sure that we use APA and we acknowledge that this, what I'm writing, is not my ideas, okay? We're giving detail by knowledge. When I say by knowledge, something that we have read. We are relying on the experts, okay? So it can be incorporated in the text, or it could be as well in a parenthetical form. So please, cite and paraphrase work in APA style. Could you read this?
Can you rewrite the paragraph above in a way that avoids redundancy but maintains the attribution of all the ideas?
Okay, continue.
It's a challenge. If you include a citation only at the end of a paragraph, the reader won't know how many of the ideas in the previous sentence says you are attributing to the cited author. But including a citation at the end of each sentence, an absolutely clear and correct approach can become redundant.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the example of Viglione. All right, let's read this paragraph. Just even without looking, even without reading word by word, we can see the attribution, okay? Viglione, 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 Viglione. But when you are reading, it can become like tedious and boring at the end, because this is one paragraph. Imagine that we keep on reading this. I'm losing interest. What is your main goal of your argumentative research paper? Tell me.
To convince the reader.
You want to convince your reader. You want to persuade the reader by means of logic. Okay? So, can you please read this for me? And mention Viglione 2010 every time, all right? Let's do it.
The cross-pollination and fusion of musical genres over the last 2 decades has exposed children to a diversity of musical styles. Viglione 2010. Technology has also made possible the distribution and sharing of music in exciting new ways. Viglione 2010. Music is shared through social media sites, analyzed and tailored for the individual listener via sites like Pandora, and simply given away by musicians on their websites. Viglione 2010. As a result, in the future, children will likely develop eclectic musical tastes early and expect a diversity of musical styles at younger and younger ages. Viglione 2010.
Okay. So the activity I was proposing to some students was, okay, let's try to avoid this repetition or redundancy. And many of them, they were, hey, it's easy, very easy. I take the Viglione out. I take this out, and then I put Viglione at the end. What is the problem? If I do that,
they don't know which sentence was Viglione.
So only the last one could be attributing the real author Viglione. As a result, in the future, children will likely develop eclectic musical tastes early and expect a diversity of musical styles at younger and younger ages. What about the rest? I really could think that that's you, the author of this paper. So you are not paraphrasing. The author of this paper is not paraphrasing Viglione, and this is actually the fact. Okay, give me some ideas. How can we avoid this type of repetition?
Could introduce who you're paraphrasing in the beginning of the paragraph.
Very good. This is something I always encourage my students, right? Like, what do we want to do? Use the in-text citation incorporated in the text. So, according to Viglione, or let me see. That's fantastic. One of these signal phrases, okay? Viglione compared, commented, emphasized, enumerated, illustrated, facilitated, pointed out, reasoned, recommended, showed. We have so many beautiful signal phrases. And here as well, the other is like a longer list of verbs for discussing ideas, for introducing somebody else's ideas, right? Like admire, affirm, analyzed, announced, confronted. So this is very good. One first idea, using in text citation incorporated in the text. But we can combine that with a parallel structure. Viglione acknowledged that not only did Viglione, open parenthesis, 2010, close parenthesis, okay, acknowledge that A, B, C, D, D, semicolon, but also we know that Viglione is a male author. So it's up to you. You have to make your research and make sure that you know that the author is female or a male, so you can use a pronoun. So we are using 3 different techniques, okay? Number 1, using one of these signal phrases to introduce the citation incorporated in the text, not as a parenthetical way. Number 1. Secondly, we are going to use a parallel structure. Not only did the author A, but also, or the author acknowledged both A and B, all right? And using a pronoun. So the author, I'm giving you another strategy. What are we doing? We are using the author, we are using the writer, we are using the expert. It's another way of calling who wrote that, Viglione. So I'm going to provide here some examples, what some real students were, like some examples how to improve this one. All right, let's read this one.
Viglione 2010 hypothesized that the cross-pollination and fusion of musical genres over the last 2 decades has exposed children to a diversity of musical styles, and that technology has also made possible the distribution and sharing of music in exciting new ways.
Very good. So, hypothesize that A and B. So we are using one of the fanboys, okay? You can use transition words, or you can use these linking words like fanboys and. Okay, second sentence.
The author also expressed that music is shared through social media sites, analyzed and tailored for the individual listener via sites like Pandora, and simply given away by musicians on their websites. As a result, the expert insisted that in the future, children will likely develop eclectic musical tastes early and expect a diversity of musical styles at a younger ages.
Very good. Fantastic. That has been done by a student here at Argosy University, the campus of Hawaii. Notice something. Why? Okay, I'm mentioning Viglione 2010, and then I say the author, and then I write the expert, and on these other ones, I'm not writing the year. You know why? It is okay. It's totally fine. This is a paraphrase, and we are talking about the same piece of work, okay? So it's the same article, very same article, or the very same book, written by the same author, written on the same year. Therefore, we don't need to continue adding the year, all right? Let me give you another